You are Locked On Knicks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, felt like a football game tonight, much more than a basketball game. Regardless, the Knicks come out on top in Game 3 of their first-round series against the Pistons. Final score tonight, 118-116, in what was certainly a memorable affair. Karl Anthony Towns, yes, Karl Anthony Towns led the way for New York in a bounce-back performance. He was brilliant, as was Jalen Brunson, his usual captain clutch. The Knicks now a step closer to the second round. They lead the series 2-1. Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you. Follow me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks Postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The Postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Also want to tell you that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. And away we go.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, what we're talking about again is a slim, albeit important, win for the Knicks tonight. They, as we said, now have a 2-1 series lead over Detroit, and this one was tough, physically tough, mentally tough. You can bet everyone's going to sleep well tonight. As we said, Karl Anthony Towns, what a bounce-back performance for the big guy. He scored a game-high 31 on 10 of 18 shooting, hit 4 3-pointers. And yes, if you were with us throughout the season, we talked free throw numbers quite a bit because they're important, as are plus minuses. We'll get to both those numbers and just a little preview of exactly what we mean when it comes to free throw percentage. Knicks were pretty good tonight. 26 of 29. We'll talk more about it coming up. As we said, 10 of 18 from the floor for Cat, 4 of 8 from 3. And again, he had 31 points, 8 rebounds, an assist, a steal, 2 blocks, really making his presence felt. And you could tell right out of the gates, it's what Cat wanted. Now, Mike Breen talked about how it was important for Cat not to hunt shots. Well, if you watch the very first couple of minutes of the game, it seemed like that's exactly what Cat was doing, hunting shots. But he settled down and he played well the rest of the way. As we said, 10 of 18 shooting in 41 minutes. The Knicks had 3 players over 40 minutes. That's not including Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson, who both played 39. So essentially, they all played about 40 minutes out of the 48 possible. All right, Jalen Brunson, as we said, Captain Clutch, struggled a little bit early to find his shot. Nonetheless, a 30-point performance once again from Brunson, 9 of 20 from the field, just 1 3-pointer. However, very important numbers from the line for Brunson, 11 of 13. And we talked about the disparity between free throws of the Pistons in Game 2 and the Knicks in Game 2. Well, things evened out just a little bit more. Knicks shot 29 free throws while the Pistons shot 27. So that seems to be a little bit more fair. As we said, 31 for Karl Anthony. Brunson had 30. How about OG Anunoby and the job he did on Cade? Really, the job he's done in all 3 games on Cade Cunningham. Now, obviously, Jalen Brunson has slid over several possessions as well to defend Cunningham. But the bulk of the play has been courtesy of OG Anunoby, who has just been brilliant. Cunningham put up 25 shots tonight, made just 10 of them. 10 of 25. He did have 24 points, as did Tim Hardaway Jr., our old friend, the Knicks draft pick. He was hitting threes like it were going out of style. In fact, he hit his first 6 threes Ended up 7 of 12 from three-point land, so he only made 1 of his last 6 shots. Now, as we said, the free throws were huge. Knicks were 26 of 29. Pistons were pretty good as well, 22 of 27. It was the late turnovers, specifically in the fourth quarter, that really changed the tone of the game. The Knicks had 9 turnovers of their own. Meanwhile, they forced 14. Excellent work there by the Knicks. As for the assists, we told you about that benchmark earlier in the season. When the Knicks get to 30-plus assists, usually means a win. Well, they didn't get there tonight, but it didn't matter. Lots of one-and-dones. They managed just 22 assists. And again, a 4-man bench tonight. Not much from anybody off the bench, with the exception of Mitchell Robinson, who did make his presence felt on the defensive end. Was a -7, however. Cam Payne hit a couple of early shots. He played just 9 minutes, as did Deuce McBride. Of course, the minutes for the bench players are going to shrink in the postseason, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, especially in the second half of the fourth quarter. Crunch time, and that's when Jalen Brunson takes over, and that's exactly what happened. As for Tim Hardaway Jr., we told you he had 24, as did Cade Cunningham, but again, the percentages from the floor, not great. The Pistons were shot 45%, Knicks shot 46. As for the three, both very important numbers. Knicks were 12 of 32. The Pistons were 16 of 37. So lots of three balls. And as we said, pretty much the entire year in today's modern NBA, you live by the three, you die by the three. And again, more of the same here. As for Josh Hart, a typical Josh Hart game. 6 points, 3 baskets made, but 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, a block, and was a +5. So kudos to Josh Hart. Again, everybody really focusing on what their job has been pretty much the entire season. Brunson down the stretch, Cat giving you a lead, OG playing defense, Bridges hitting shots late, and Josh Hart grabbing all the rebounds. In fact, the Knicks had 40 rebounds to 32 for Detroit. So the Knicks were a +8 on the boards. Again, 118-116. Knicks now have a 2-1 series lead. What's interesting about that is game 3 winner, after being tied at 1, they go on to win the series 74% of the time. Again, after a 1-1 tie, the winner of the pivotal game 3 goes on to win nearly 3/4 of the series played. So, needless to say, the Knicks are in a good way right now. What was also at stake tonight was a win in back-to-back playoff games for Detroit for the first time since 2008. And obviously that didn't happen. Knicks were good enough to avoid that. It was the Pistons' first home playoff game in 6 years. They were raucous early, but as both Mike Breen and Alan Hahn pointed out in the fourth quarter, it seemed like they left just a little bit early. Now, odds were against Detroit, either tying it or taking the lead very late. But again, still, it was a single possession game with seconds remaining, and the fans were headed for the exits. As Alan Hahn said, traffic can't be that bad at this time of night in Detroit. Regardless, we need to focus on the refs as well, who have a very difficult job, especially in this series. This is not the Golden State Warriors, where they're chucking up threes, scoring 140 points a night. This is very much like the 90s Knicks battles in the Eastern Conference, be it the Heat, be it the Bulls, be it the Pistons, be it the Pacers. All of those old rivals sort of popped back into your head tonight because of the aggressiveness of the defense being played. Certainly, there were dust-ups. In fact, there were technical fouls called. There was a flagrant foul. Lots of the dirty stuff. Anyways, in regard to the refs, a very difficult job that they didn't do very well tonight, especially at the end with the clock malfunction that really he penalized the Knicks. With 0.5 seconds remaining, Jalen Brunson intentionally misses the free throw, but the clock started before anyone touched it. So again, a clock malfunction that eventually the Knicks were able to secure the win on. All right, 118-116. For the first time since 1972, the Knicks have 4 20-point scores in a single NBA playoff game. Again, 30 for Brunson, 31 for Cat, 22 for OG, and 20 for Bridges. We'll take a break. When we come back, we got player of the game. We got the schedule, as well as the Knicks have now taken 2 of the first 3 from Detroit. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Well, turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. Well, if you already have a console, well, a Fire TV Stick 4K device, more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your or your kids' games wherever you plug in. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube third generation. All right, last but not least, game time. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. We certainly saw that tonight in Detroit. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Here's why I use Game Time. Last-minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minutes for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. The all-in pricing means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, you know what time it is. It is this.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, to no one's surprise, it's Karl Anthony Towns. As we said, there was a focus before this game started for Cat to be better than he was specifically in Game 2. Well, he was exactly that with the bounce-back performance of the playoffs. Towns, in 41 minutes, 10 of 18 from the floor, 4 3-pointers, a perfect 7 for 7 from the line, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, was a +8. He is, without a doubt, your player of the game. All right, as we said, a rough and tumble night as the Knicks win at 118-116, and they've now taken a 2-1 series lead. As we said, the Knicks had 4 20-point scorers tonight, led by Karl Anthony Towns, who had 31. Jalen Brunson had 30, 22 for OG, and 20 for Mikal Bridges. As for the Pistons, old friend Tobias Harris, simply put, could not hit a shot tonight, had just 5 points. Tim Hardaway Jr., we told you about all those threes early. He was 6 for 6 to start. He ended up with 24. Jalen Duren, 7 of 10 from the floor, 16 points and 8 rebounds, certainly made his presence felt in the second half. Once again, Dennis Schroeder was excellent. He had 18. Malik Beasley was not excellent, could not find his shot. 2 of 10 from 3, and that's a big reason why the Pistons could not get out in front. They got close several times, but every time they got close within 4 or 5 points, the Knicks would step on the gas and put distance between themselves and the Pistons, and thus a 118-116 victory. All right, the Knicks are ready for playoff basketball, and Locked On Knicks has you covered every step of the way. Subscribe to the Locked On Knicks podcast newsletter for expert analysis, insider insights, and all the playoff action delivered straight to your inbox for free. Plus, as a subscriber, you'll be entered to win one of these three amazing prizes: $2,500 Best Buy gift card, $300 Game Time gift card, and a $200 Fanatics gift card. It's easy and free to enter. Simply subscribe between April 7th and April 30th to be automatically entered to win. Don't miss a moment of their championship run. Join the Locked On Knicks newsletter today. Experience the playoffs like never before. Subscribe today. Enter to win by clicking the link in the description. All right, before we get out of here, I want to mention our partners in crime. That is Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf, the All-Stars over at Locked On Knicks. They handle all the stuff again there. So follow, subscribe, and enjoy. 118-116 final score. Thanks to 31 from Cat and a bounce-back performance. Captain Clutch was exactly that down the stretch. Clutch. Brunson scored 12 of his 30 in that fourth quarter alone. And again, certainly earning the moniker Captain Clutch. All right, the Knicks will next play the Pistons April 27th. That is a 1:00 game. And again, that is this weekend on Sunday. Then Tuesday, back at the Garden. Eventually Thursday in Detroit, if necessary. And then May 3rd would be the Saturday, a possible Game 7 again at the Garden. 118-116 player of the game, Karl Anthony Towns. Knicks up 2-1. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.